I guess two interesting things. The first one that people always forget is that they have the same currency as us. You can use a dollar here just as you would in the US, which is very convenient for travelers from America. And I'd say the second thing is that a lot of indigenous people still live in Panama, but they usually only work in touristy beach resorts, which is kind of sad, but at the same time interesting that they maintain their lifestyle and are able to make so much money off of tourists.
Okay, so when we first got to Panama, we drove through Panama City, and I was surprised by all the huge skyscrapers and construction that was going on. And I learned that construction is the #1 industry here in Panama, and I guess there's just the stark contrast between the city, rural area, and the urban and the rural areas that really surprised me.
I guess at first I didn't realize that they use the same currency as the US does, and a lot of things are very similar to the US, like the same currency, they use the same voltage, electricity, like I didn't need to buy a converter or anything, so that was kind of odd. I didn't realize that. And then another thing, I guess I wasn't expecting it to rain at the exact same time every single day, because it doesn't do that in the US. It's sunny in the morning and then it comes in, it rains around 3 in the afternoon, and they can predict, the Panamanians that live here can predict like, oh, it's going to rain in exactly 20 minutes. And you look at your watch and it rains in 20 minutes. It's so weird that like it's so scheduled, like the weather here, it's weird.
First impression of Panama was just very intense heat. And you hear about the heat beforehand and you just don't quite realize how hot it is. Because we were in the airport and it was like, oh, this is great. We stepped outside and it was just like opening an oven door. The heat was so intense and I had worn sweats on the plane, which is a bad idea. Don't do that. And it was just so incredibly hot. But you do get used to it after a while, or I don't know if it was just that day.
One, they eat a lot of fried chicken here. It's very funny to see how much fried food and fried chicken they eat. And two, that everybody wears Crocs. Crocs is a big thing here.
Some interesting things that I found about Panama is most of them are culture related. I remember we first got into Panama, and first of all I remember the heat stepping out of the airport. That was a huge shock. I thought it was fine at first, and then it ended up not being fine. It was horrifyingly hot. And then we get into Luna's Castle, and we walk into this gated door, and you can walk up through into Luna's Castle, and you look out the back window and there's Luna's Castle down below, and then right across the fence there's also people who live there, but there's trash places, and it's kind of shocking to see people living the way that they do with my own eyes.
One thing that I never really expected coming here is that it's pretty mountainous. I don't know why, but I just never pictured there being mountains here. I just pictured everything flat. But there's hills and mountains everywhere, and it's really beautiful. And another thing that you don't really think about when you're here, they don't really eat vegetables here. They eat a ton of fruit, and they have all sorts of fruits that we've never even heard of in the US. They just don't exist. But they don't eat any vegetables that we're used to, like broccoli or carrots or anything like that. That just doesn't really exist here.
Well, my first impression was we flew in from the UK, so we were pretty tired. And we got on this dodgy bus and got dropped off in the middle of nowhere in a really kind of rough area in the middle of the night. And my first impression was like, oh god, where have I come? But I was expecting a mix between rich and poor, so I felt like I was in the poorer area. I guess in the end that was kind of true, but obviously here it's very different. I love it.